From NPR News, this is All Things Considered. I'm Michelle Norris.
And I'm Robert Siegel. In Los Angeles, the police face criticism from the American Civil Liberties Union and some American Islamic groups over a plan to map Muslim enclaves in the area. It's a project undertaken by the LAPD's Anti-Terrorism Bureau. Deputy Police Chief Michael Downing is in charge of that. He's testified about the community mapping plan before the U.S. Senate Committee on Homeland Security, and he joins us now. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
And first, what would a completed map of the Los Angeles Muslim community actually show?
Well, that's what we don't know. That's why we would like to engage in this process. And I think that the word mapping is maybe be causing some concern. It's really a community engagement plan to help us identify the 500 to 700,000 Muslims throughout this region, and especially the communities that are isolated and removed from the greater society. We just don't know, what the trust level is, what the apprehension to engage with law enforcement is. And we've been in this outreach effort with the Muslim communities for the past 18 months, and this is the next evolution of community outreach.
You told the Senate committee that your hope is that with the mapping program you might, and I quote, identify communities within the larger Muslim community which may be susceptible to violent, ideologically based extremism.
That's correct.
Is it really appropriate for the police to be looking for people who may be susceptible to something that could turn illegal, as opposed to people who are actually doing something illegal?
Well, our functional objective in law enforcement is to prevent crime and to prevent crimes from occurring. Now, after we identify the communities, not individuals. It's not profiling. It's just understanding where they are, where they exist, and how they express themselves. Then we can apply a set of risk factors, as I said in my testimony, such as exposure to a more radical Wahhabi Salafi preaching, socioeconomic conditions, age, gender demographics, unemployment, education, and so on, to try to identify these and see if those communities are really susceptible to a trajectory of radicalization, as we've seen in Madrid, as we've seen in France.
But can you appreciate the fact that since you're searching within the Muslim community, that, for example, the American Civil Liberties Union says, and I quote, this is nothing short of racial profiling?
Yeah, that's an interesting choice of words, because there's nothing racial about this at all. It's not based on religion. It's not based on race. It's based on a set of criteria that causes these communities to enclave and remove themselves from society, and therefore they're not getting the type of information and services that they need to be supported in this greater society, and we have an obligation to help that along. And I have to stress, too, this is still in the conceptual stage. We have talked to several Muslim organizations about this, and as you know, the day after my testimony in the Congressional Quarterly, the headline read, LAPD and Muslims stand on the same page. And that lasted for about 3 or 4 days, and then as the word got out, it's caused concern, I think probably because of the word mapping.
We should just say the word mapping comes directly from your statement to the committee.
It does,
Section 5 of the statement is the section on mapping.
Right.
In the statement that you gave the Senate Homeland Security Committee, you said, and I'm quoting here, law enforcement's ultimate goal is to engender the continued loyalty and good citizenship of American Muslims, not merely disrupt terrorist activities.
That's correct. We want to help raise the moderate Muslim voice, for one. We'd like to be viewed as trusted friends by the Muslim communities so that we can give them the proper service that they deserve.
But in fairness, if somebody down the block from me is holding bull sessions about jihad in faraway countries, not doing anything but susceptible to perhaps doing something, I may not like it, but I can't call the cops on them, can I? I mean, you can talk and entertain ideas, can't you?
If they are engaged in hateful behavior and there's an observation of a radical trajectory toward jihad or toward violent extremism, I believe it's your duty to get law enforcement involved. But hopefully we can head that off before a terrorist act occurs.
But the concept of a trajectory implies that thinking about things and talking about things are early stages of that trajectory. And typically we usually don't regard those as illegal acts. We usually say people, can think and talk, and the marketplace of ideas gets some ideas thrown out at some point.
Well, yeah, but when it goes beyond that, when you start talking about, hateful, violent behavior aimed at innocent civilians, then it does become a police matter, and I think I'd have to disagree with you.
No action necessary there. Just a discussion would be enough to bring down the
That's
police
enough
interest.
for me to be concerned.
Well, Chief Downing, thank you very much for talking with us today.
Thank you.
Michael Downing, Deputy Police Chief of the Los Angeles Police Department, talking about the plan to create a map of Muslim communities around Los Angeles.